Welcome to the open doors for our international programs here at the Faculty of Social Sciences. So we're going to be talking a little bit about our experiential learning programs within the faculty. My name is Miguel de la Larnaga. I'm a professor in the Political Science Department, and I'm also the International Practical Teaching Manager for the faculty, which means that among other things, I teach the Model UN course that we'll be talking about, and I do the pedagogical framing for our international internships. And we have here as well Madeleine Roy, who's the International Field Placement Coordinator. Madeleine,
hi, everybody. Yeah, so I've been the field placement since, oh my God, for 10 years, over 10 years now. And I look at basically, if you do a program with us, you'll be meeting with me, we'll be discussing your opportunities, how it fits in your program, and what's the best timing for you to do something like this. So I look forward to meeting you either online or hopefully next year in person.
So today what we're going to do is to go through the different experiential learning programs that we have and see what they entail. Some of what we do in the classes, for example. So one of the things that's very important in terms of experiential learning, and in particular when we are going in the international, whether it be in person or obviously right now with the pandemic at a distance, is facing the unknown, right? Getting people out of their comfort zones in many ways. So for preparation for all of these programs, we do all kinds of different workshops around ethics, around risk management, around culture shock. One of the exercises that we do, for example, is facing the unknown. Usually when we do this in class, I would bring all kinds of strange objects from my kitchen and from my workshop, and I would get students to actually think about the process through which they're trying to investigate or understand what this object is. Obviously now with the pandemic, we've had to switch gears a little bit. And one of the things that we do, for example, is taking microscopic images like this one and doing the same thing. So asking students to a certain extent to explain to us the process through which you try to come to terms with the object, or here, obviously the picture that you're seeing. So these are some of the exercises that we do to get students ready to either go in the field or working at a distance in the international. So experiential learning is a very different type of learning than classroom learning. Within classroom learning, we start with this sort of conceptualization. We look at concrete experiences or actions or events through, if you want, through different theoretical lenses, which is basically what you would do within the context of a classroom. Experiential learning, though, the person is actually in the loop, right? So it's an embodied experience in that way. So, from a concrete experience, you also have an affective side to it, which means that you have to come to terms with with the experience that you're actually experiencing, and then sort of take some detachment and use those other theoretical tools that you have learned in class over 3 or 4 years to sort of make sense of this. Then going from that to actual active experimentation, and then being able to actually act within the context, within the immediate context that you are in, right? And these types of cycles are things that would happen within, whether a field research course, whether the Model UN course, or within the context of our internships. And you would deal with these day to day, whether it be within your work, or even, let's say going to the market and buying something. And you can also use this type of cycle at a macro scale, in the sense that it would be your whole experience, let's say, of an internship could be seen as one big cycle like this one.
Any questions right now? So if you have any questions, you can either write it or talk, just
put up your hand or put up a hand or just
voice it.
Ask.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. So the four type of activities that we promote through the Faculty of Social Sciences are field research courses, the UN simulation course, international internships, and exchanges. So we'll go through all of these briefly. So the field research courses we've been doing since 2006. They take place in the summer. And since 2006, we've done 60 courses in more than 25 countries. They're intensive courses of 3 or 4 weeks with a maximum of 15 students that go in the field with a professor. These courses are either in English or French. And the goals of the courses are really to sort of deepen an issue within the context of the particular country where these courses take place, and really sort of putting into practice what you've learned in terms of sort of methodology, and also develop better field research habits. Some of the issues that have been addressed in these courses, for example, social movements in South Africa. We've had questions of democratization in Tunisia, globalization in Senegal, marginalization in Mexico, the Cold War in Germany, questions of immigration in Sweden, social policy in Northern Ireland, anthropological medicine in Cameroon, and global migration in Australia. So there are a variety of courses every year. We usually have Madeleine, 5 or 6 courses a summer.
We usually have, yes, we try to get at least 6, depending on, because these courses are dependent on the availability of the professor. May is also a really busy time of the year for professors because they have conferences and public presentations. But this is the originality of this, or the opportunity for the student is to go to the field of research of the professor. So you're actually going with her or him to their field of research. So you'll be meeting different groups that they are familiar with, different professors or specialists that they are working in the field, and they'll be able to organize and set you up to do that kind of research by yourself and take you through the paces. So it's usually a very rewarding opportunity for students as well as for professors, because you get to know each other very well, and it really is, it's not often that you're only 15 in a group, in a class at a university setting. The admission requirements for this program is for you apply when you're in second year, and you can then go at the end of your second year in May, which is, so you'll be finishing your second year in April, and you can right away go to the participate in the field research course. You can do it in your third year or in your fourth year also. What else? Well, do you have to also attend the pre-departure training? That is a very important part that takes place in the winter semester before the course. That's where you'll talk about logistical issues with the professors. You'll talk about your research question. You'll get some grounding on the host country, meet some specialists that are in Ottawa, for example, that can come and talk to the class, all of that to prepare you to go to the class, to the field. The cost depends on the destination. So for it, and it really depends on the destination. For example, Taiwan is a very far away, so the airline ticket would be about $2,000. Although accommodations over there are cheaper than they would be, for example, in the United States. So students are responsible to pay for their airline tickets, their travel insurance, and the accommodations over there. But the faculty allocates $1,000 bursary for each participant. So that'll help you take care of the travel expenses. There's also a lot of other bursaries that maybe you've seen today that you can apply to help mitigate the cost. Yeah, so any questions right now? Nope.
Okay. So the UN simulation course is a course that I teach, and I've been teaching for 7 years. It has been ongoing since 2010. We've had 9 delegations that have participated in the conference. Unfortunately, because of COVID last year, the conference was canceled, although we did do the course, basically do the coursework for it. This year, there is going to be a National Model UN. Unfortunately, we will not be going to New York, but it will be done virtually. But NMUN is going to be running then virtually in April. It's a course that's given in English because the simulation is in English. You also get to assist to a Quebec Model UN, which is usually done in February. Again, this year, because of COVID, it will be done virtually. And it's a course that in some ways teaches you about the UN. It also teaches you about a particular country, because every year we have a specific country that we will be representing. For example, last year we were Belgium. The year before that we were Argentina. So sort of a variety of countries. So each year we learn about the foreign policy of the country. We learn about their history, their culture, as well as obviously the UN. And then we do a bunch of simulations in class to prepare students for National Model UN in New York. I mean, even the Quebec Model UN is really a prep for National Model UN. So the course in itself is geared to preparing the students to go and do NMUN. As far as the conditions of admission for the courses, you need a CGPA of 6 and also having completed 54 credits, and obviously be fluent in English because the course is in English, and all the preparatory material, all the assignments are to be written in English. It's a competitive course in the sense that you do apply and then you go through interviews, and depending on the country that we're representing, there'll be a certain number of students that are chosen for the course. So it's not automatic admission. It is a competitive process to get into it. The cost here is around 13, or it kind of depends a little bit on the number of students and depending on the exchange rate and all these types of things, but it is around $1,300. Not this year, obviously, because of COVID, that is going to be done virtually. But when we do Quebec Model UN and national, wherever that is, and usually somewhere in Quebec, whether it be Montreal or Quebec City or Eastern Townships, et cetera, and also the New York trip, costs approximately $1,300. And that includes the transportation as well as the hotel and the registration for the conference.
Travel insurance.
And travel insurance, that's right. And then you pay out of your own pocket for your own food and anything else as well.
And the conference is around 6 days, right, Miguel?
That's correct. So usually it's 6 days and you have a couple of days in New York. So usually students leave on Friday in the bus, get to New York on Saturday morning overnight. have all of day Saturday to explore New York. Then the conference starts. The opening ceremonies for the conference start on Sunday. Then conference runs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday is closing ceremonies at the United Nations. And then students come back on the Friday morning back to Ottawa by Friday, leaving New York Friday morning, getting back to Ottawa on Friday evening.
And we do, the uOttawa team usually comes back with 1 or 2 awards, right, Miguel?
We have been very successful throughout this program. It's a tribute, I think, to the quality of the students at the University of Ottawa. I think we have a very strong group, especially because we have a lot of people that have done co-op, a lot of people that have done, working for the government, know how to write for these things. So we have been very, very successful every year with this program, receiving awards, both as team awards as well as individual awards that are awarded to people in committee, and also the position papers that they present.
Okay, time is flying by. Eh?
Yeah, I know it's going quickly. we have to keep on going, and then we'll ask some questions at the end, I think. Ask for questions. The internships, we've been doing internships since 2008, and we've had more than 1,000 students that have done internships in 76 countries. We work with Canadian NGO partners and that are partnered with a local NGO in the field. Again, because of COVID, we are obviously not right now running courses that are, internships that are in the field, but we are running internships with local NGOs, partnered with Canadian NGOs at a distance. So students are in contact with the local NGO in the field and doing work at home and going through Zoom meetings and these types of things as well. And this has been a very positive experience for our students for the last 2 terms. They've been, it's been a very good experience, developing some very good skills of working at a distance, which I think is going to be part of the way in which development is going to restructure even post-COVID. Obviously, this is it's a 12-week job. That's non-paid work. Go ahead, Madeleine.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
It's
a course as well as a work experience. So it's a 12-week program. For example, the students that are going to be participating in January will start around the first week of January, and it's about 35 hours a week, and they'll be finishing the first week of April. So, but the internship actually starts at the Faculty of Social Sciences in the pre-departure training, where we help students prepare for the field with, as Miguel mentioned at the beginning, exercises and discussions and tips and logistical issues to prepare them for the field. And they do then end in a reintegration workshop when it's in the field, or consolidation of learning workshop, which lasts about 4 days when they come back. So their students have been working with all kinds of NGOs, Canadian NGOs, for example, Minds Action Canada, which is a disarmament-focused NGO, or the Federation of Forum, who is much more an NGO that's focused on helping post-conflict countries in terms of governance and participation of civil society. There's a whole bunch that you can find on our website of postings that you can get familiarized to give you an idea of what they work as. They can work in economics, they can work in social work, they can work in research, documentation, all kinds of areas are open. Actually, whatever program you are registered in Faculty of Social Sciences, there's an internship that fits your program of study.
So the cost, I think the cost for that would be around would be $3,700.
Yeah. So the cost. Sorry, Miguel. So the cost is $3,700. But the cost is this is what it would cost the student to participate in. Actually, the NGOs all charge the faculty between $6,000 and $9,000 to participate in an internship. The students all pay $3,700 and the faculty pays the rest. So if your actual cost is $9,000, it's the faculty who picks up the difference. You have to do it in your third or fourth year. And again, you have to have CGPA, cumulative CGPA of 6.0. And of course, there's a whole bunch of, you have to agree to do the pre-departure training and to also do the pre-departure training of the Canadian NGO, because they will also be involved and supervising and helping you while you're in the field or at a distance.
Finally, we have exchanges. These are not run by us, but run by the international office. You basically can get in contact with them to get more information. The tuition fees are the same as at University of Ottawa, so it would cost basically the same for you to be there. And exchanges are usually in third or fourth year of your program of study, and there too we have bursaries or scholarships of $1,000 that are given to students.
Yes, the university has over 400 agreements with different universities around the world. So again, whether it's the country or the program of study that you're interested in, there's something that you can find there for your needs and your interests. And so what an exchange is really to go study abroad for a semester or two. And so how it works is you apply when you're in second year, and then you go away for a semester or two when you're in third or fourth year, basically. And the bursary would be around $1,000 for each participant to help you mitigate the cost again.
So we're at 4:24. So we have kind of exhausted our time here. Are there any quick questions that you would have in the next minute and a half? We will be able to answer any questions that you can. Please go to our website and look at all the information that is there. And you can always contact us if you want additional information for our program.
Can you show the links for the websites?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So yeah, take a picture of that, and we hope to hear from you if you are interested in any of our programs.